He hung around some construction jobs that I was doing because he was the boyfriend of my nieces. You know, like all of them, all three of them. Vincent was a boyfriend too. And then we worked on construction crews together, and we ended up buying a house together in Highland Park. And he called, because I was the uncle to his girlfriends, he called me Uncle Brent always. And one story I wanted to tell about him, a lot of people talk about what a ladies' man he was, and I was living on a commune in Colorado, and he came out to visit. And I had a commune girlfriend who was wild and free, and she saw him immediately and said, "You got to fix me up." And so I took him over to her house, and we chatted for a while. And I said, "I've got to leave. You guys, I'll check you later." So leaving the two of them alone, and she came to the door and said, "Oh, thank you, thank you. I've always wanted a Filipino houseboy," and that was my gift to my girlfriend Alex, and I guess to Vincent as well. I loved him very much.
I have a few things that I just want to share with you, especially with the kids, about their dad. I didn't meet their dad until after he had his accident, and they'd flown him back to the States here, of course. And originally met him in my official capacity as a lawyer. But like everybody, when I got to know Vincent, he's an incredible person, truly an incredible person, and I hope to impart a little bit about that to you. The first thing that you need to know about Vincent is that by getting to know him, I feel like I got to know a whole community of people. The thing he would always do is talk about all of his life and all of his friends. He was in a very reflective place during the years that I knew him, and it was always about people. And the great thing was, he had the most amazing friends. They were absolutely the best humanity had to offer, at least when I viewed everybody through his eyes. He told me a story that I think I need to share here, so that you will know this as well. Over a year ago, he was in the hospital, and one of the many sort of trips that he started to take to the hospital there over the last year and a half, and we didn't think he'd make it. And he came out of the hospital, and he made it. But when I saw him the next time, he told me this story. He said, "Bart," and you know, he's really been in bad shape, and he'd already been over that territory. He said, "Bart, when I was lying on the bed in the hospital," he said, "I died." He said, I saw myself lying on the bed. I felt myself slipping from my head to my feet. I could feel myself just slipping away. And I was ready. I was ready to go. And he said, I had accepted that, you know, I'm tired and I'm ready. He said, but then something stopped him. And he said what stopped him was he heard voices. He heard the voices of his children. And he said, when I heard my kids' voices, I started fighting again. And I could feel myself clawing, just like I was clawing my way back up through my legs and into my body and finally into my brain. And I woke up, and I was still alive. And I knew that I had to be here for my children. I knew I had to hang in there, and so that they would know me and I could be there for them. His kids were his reason to live. He loved you guys so much. And he talked about you. Jazz, so proud of you. Unbelievable, the man you've become. Just, you know, can't tell you enough. Mia, he talked about how beautiful a young woman you were. I know that there was a lot of strain between the two of you in the last years of his life, last couple of years there. He did too. He understood. I want you to know. He was very understanding. He was a funny guy like that. He just gave his heart over and said, "It's okay. It'll be okay." And he had that long-term view. He knew that it would work out. And he loved you so much. He talked about you all the time. He worried about you constantly. You know, Dylan, you were his love bug, man. He would talk all the time about how great it was when you came over to the house and you just lay on him and just lay with him, and that was something he lived for. And that was healing, and so great.
I met Vincent when I was 10 years old at the Renaissance Pleasure Fair with Sylvan Tauber and all his friends. And instantly, I had a crush on him. I didn't even know what crush was. And I knew him all my years as the coolest friend, the most creative, generous, intelligent, gracious, and charitable type of man. He was such an example to me. I was 10, I think he was 17. So always a big brother figure in my life. I met him in Hawaii, in Los Angeles, back in Los Angeles. He taught me so much without words by his personal expression of living. He was always creating and expressing himself in all the good ways that he could think of all the time. And without him turning to me and ever actually saying something, except for like, "Did you notice?" He showed, he exhibited the kind of man that is rare. It's a rare treasure in this world. And you should always be able to have that kind of example in your memories, in your soul, of someone who is true and straightforward and sincere in his honesty, and certainly imperfect, but not arrogant, and generous to a flaw. That is the main thing he's taught me. Just give. Be the love that you've been given, and give it.
Hi, I'm Jan Stayskull. I met your father, Vinny, when I was 16 at the Renaissance Fair. I think I met him before that, but I used to work at the Renaissance Fair at the ball catcher booth next to his beautiful pinwheel booth, and him and John Castle, and they were just fun times, you know, when we were all young and beautiful. And the last time I saw your father walking, it was at his 50th birthday party at your ranch in Maui, and I know he loved all of you so much. And he was with Dylan in the golf cart, and it was just a really nice party. And when I saw your father later in the hospital, he said to me he felt like it was his going away party, and it was so sad. And he was just a strong and beautiful man, and I know he could be a little bit of a pain, but he loved his family so much, and he loved you. And He'll always be in your heart, and I'll never forget him.